Welcome. I'm here today with one of our graduates, Cindy Johnson, to have a very interesting conversation about homeopathy and Christianity, both from the perspective of people who want to get treatment with homeopathy, and also from the perspective of people who may already have had treatment and are now really excited about homeopathy and are thinking that they want to learn more so that they can do more with homeopathy. And Cindy and I had a preliminary conversation a few weeks ago where I asked her if she finds that people in her practice um, are really sort of a little bit hesitant at times because of their faith and want to understand how Christianity and homeopathy work together. And I know that I also get questions like that in terms of people studying. So we decided it would be great to have a conversation about it together. So I want to tell you a little bit about Cindy. Cindy Johnson is a wife and a homeschooling mom of four children. She has a master's degree in child and family studies and psychology. As I mentioned earlier, she is a graduate of our program, Caduceus Institute of Classical Homeopathy, and she's also a graduate of the Lotus Health Institute, Dr. Robin Murphy's school. She worked as a professional homeopath. She has worked as a professional homeopath for several years, helping people improve their short-term and long-term health, as well as mentoring students. She is a member of Homeopathy 24/7 Team, which is an international platform for acute homeopathy, and she also hosts a Facebook group named Homeopathy for the Christian Home. So welcome, Cindy. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Willa. Thank you for asking me to be here today.
Yeah, so what is the scenario like when someone approaches you for homeopathic treatment, but they might have some doubts about whether it's okay being a Christian and also using homeopathy as a healing modality? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure. I have a lot of people contact me, sometimes on Facebook or Instagram or through my website. Sometimes they will actually book a 15-minute phone call. I would say that probably 75% of my 15-minute phone calls, people just want to talk to me about my philosophy, about the intersection of homeopathy and Christianity. They just want to know how I approach it, what my thoughts are. If I, a lot of people are being told by others that it's very new agey. And so it's really nice because I'm able to take that time and that opportunity to share with them, that Dr. Hahnemann, who was the founder of homeopathy, he was actually a Christian. We have information in our literature that he was a Christian. He actually did his secussions on his leather-bound Bible, and when he was married his second time to Melanie, from my understanding, she was actually of the Catholic faith. And he had her, I'm not sure if he had her completely convert to Lutheranism or what the situation was, but they actually had a Lutheran marriage ceremony, from my understandings.
Oh, that's
So
beautiful.
I
And
find that fascinating.
you reminded me of something I had forgotten, which was when we talked earlier planning this call, um, that you had asked me about this when you first approached the school. I don't remember because a lot of people ask me these questions and I didn't know that you had, but can you tell me a little bit about that conversation?
Sure, sure. Yes, homeopathy had, I'd been using it with my children and I had had really good success with it. And I just did my research and found your school and jumped straight in because I just jumped straight in with both feet most of the time. I didn't think much about it. And then I had somebody at church actually question me, and she's like, "What are you doing? That's not right." And so it was funny. I hesitate because it was funny because my kids were like, "You're going to get us kicked out of church." And I'm like, "No, no, this can't be right." And so I actually sent you, it was very early. I'd probably only been in the school for a month or so. And I sent you an email and I'm like, Willa, oh my goodness, please tell me, tell me what's going on here with Christianity and homeopathy. I really feel like I need to know. And you just kind of set my mind at ease. And you're like, religion has nothing to do with it. It's okay. And I remember we went back and forth a couple times, but enough that it was like I felt okay about it, but I'm the type of person that I'm very principle based. And so I felt like I needed to dig deeper. So what that did was it threw me deeper into the Bible. And so I was doing my study and my research. And what I realized was at the end of the day, I realized that, and this is what I tell people when I talk with, potential prospective clients, I tell them homeopathy is based on a set of universal principles. And it doesn't matter the person's religion, it doesn't matter the person's culture, it doesn't matter their gender. None of that matters because it affects, it's like natural laws. It impacts everybody. So once I realized that, and I took a long time to get it into me because I didn't want to be caught off guard because it's a pretty controversial topic within the Christian faith. And so I felt like I had to feel good about what I was doing so that I could do it well and so that I could, try to explain it to others well. So that's what I tell people. And there are, I don't know the right way to say it, but the methodology of homeopathy does not include anything new age. There are some homeopaths that choose to add in some modalities, like the pendulums, the some even the muscle testing. I'm trying to think the different things. They add in different things, and that's their choice, but that's not part of homeopathy. Homeopathy is a completely standalone. It's just a complete system of healing. And again, it's just based on a set of universal principles that impacts everyone. So like you told me in the emails, but I had to go and dig for myself. And that's good because I needed that. It's just based on a set of universal principles. So and so that
Sort of like the law of gravity, it's just
yeah, it's
things that
just
are
there.
natural that aren't part of any faith or anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just there. It is, and it impacts everyone. And so that's what I like to point out to people. And I do encourage prospective clients. I'm like, take advantage of the fact that a lot of homeopaths offer the 15-minute talk, so that you can ask them what their philosophy is, or, how do they incorporate faith into their practice if they incorporate it, what do they do, what do they not do. I make a promise to my clients that, I just don't participate in pendulums. I don't participate in, any of the stuff that moves away from what I call Hahnemannian homeopathy, because the methodology of homeopathy is so I don't want to say simplistic, but it's just complete. It's complete. It doesn't need anything extra. So I just like to keep it just nice and simple and just based on the basic methodologies.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, um, when you did your research, did you find any particular connections with the Bible in homeopathic principles? Can you see any of those connections in the Bible?
Yes, definitely. I found a couple, and there's a couple that just really stand out. So there's one in the Old Testament. It's in Exodus, and I wrote it down so I don't forget. It's Exodus 32, and it's talking about the golden calf. So it's when Moses went up to get the Ten Commandments, and while he was gone, the people were getting a little antsy. And so they asked Aaron, what can we do? And so he had them contribute their gold. He melted it down, created this golden calf. So then when Moses came down, he was really upset. And so he took that golden calf and he burnt it, and then he ground it down, and then he sprinkled it on the water, and he made all of the people drink it. And which, of course, we know homeopathically is Orem, which is really good for people that are just so full of despair and anguish. And these people were so upset that they had upset God. And so I just think that is just so clear and so amazing. And it's so small. I mean, it's only like one or two scriptures, just that part, yeah, that specific part. But I still think it's just so amazing. And then in the New Testament, I usually share the Romans 12:15. And that's just the law of similars. It's the rejoice with those who rejoice and weep with those who weep. And I think that, that's also just part of, one of the principles, the law of similars. And so I really like that one as well. And of course, there's plenty of others. I feel like we find more of the law of similars in the Bible than the law of opposites. So I find that to be really interesting. And I was going to tell you, I have two different books, actually, I guess three different books, if you look at it, that are specifically for Christians in homeopathy that I have found really helpful. So this one, I have the book. The other is just an ebook that I have. But this one is called A Christian's Guide to Homeopathy by Alan Crook. It's pretty thin little book. And then the other one is called God is a Homeopath by Gerald. I can't pronounce his name, but it's Bocquee. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. And then this book is by Dana Ullman, who is here in the States. The first two books, the authors are not in the United States. But Dana Ullman has The Homeopathic Revolution, and it's a much thicker book. It has a lot of information about people in the past and current, I guess, that have chosen homeopathy. And so he talks quite a bit about religion in there as well, including Bible verses, talks about people like various popes and Mother Teresa and the royal family. And so it's actually really interesting to read as well. So I don't know. I have I love books. And so I like to just pull those out from time to time and just read and just refamiliarize myself with this information because I do find it really interesting. And like I said, a lot of people ask me about it.
Wonderful. Well, we'll definitely put links to those books
Yeah.
in when we post this video so that people can access those books and read for themselves. Great. Is there anything in those books that just kind of comes to mind? Uh, any stories that really kind of stick in your mind from any of
Hmm.
them?
One of the books, I can't remember off the top of my head exactly which one, but I think it's God is a Homeopath. Um, that author had actually gone into a lot of Hahnemann's personal writings and really extracted a lot of information kind of to support the fact that he was Christian, which I found to be really interesting. And some people, and I have had people say to me, well, Hahnemann was a Freemason, so there's no way he could have been Christian. And so in this one particular book, he actually talks to that, and he says, well, back during that time frame, majority of intellectual and professional men were Freemasons, to include Benjamin Franklin and the guy, I think it's Alexander Fleming, who developed antibiotics. So it was like, we can't use that as an excuse to not use homeopathy because so many other professional people were Freemasons as well. So that was just kind of part of the intellectual, the culture at that time. So I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, we don't hear people refusing to use antibiotics because the founder was or the person who discovered it was a Freemason. That's a really, really good point.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So that
so,
was interesting. Oh, go
so
ahead.
tell me, are there discussions that happen in your Christian moms homeschooling group that kind of bring up these kinds of topics, and what are people's reactions?
hmm So from time to time, like every couple months, like a new person will join and so they'll pose the question. They'll be like, this does not go against my Christian faith, right? Homeopathy does not. And so it's really interesting because those are actually the most active posts that we have. And so a lot of people like to jump in and talk about that. And a lot of people are just so happy to find a safe place where they feel like they can talk. And it's not like I don't know what the right word is. I mean, it's not it's an app that I created the group because I think it's, so special or anything like that. It's just that I've had so many people contact me with concerns about, well, I'm Christian and I've been told I can't use homeopathy. And I'm like, let me tell you why that is not true. And I tell people, I really want to empower moms specifically. I want to empower Christian moms. I want to help them to see, I am not against the medical system. I know a lot of people are. I'm not against it. I look at it as a resource. If I need to go to the local hospital, I am thankful that they are there. And that's how I look at it. Likewise, as a mom, I want to be able to help my children at home if possible. If there's something that I can easily do and learn how to home prescribe, which is exactly what I did, to give my children different remedies to help them. And then I can avoid going to the pediatrician or if I can avoid going to the local hospital. And I have on multiple occasions, I could tell you stories, but I won't right now. But I mean, a couple times I would have walked straight out the door to the ER with a child, but I had the information and I was able to go, let me just grab my kit and let me just sit here and think for just a second. I mean, I didn't take a lot of time, but I was able to give remedies and completely avoid going to the ER. And the benefit of that is it empowers the mom to be able to help their family. And it also lightens the burden at the local hospital. I don't know about your local hospital, but our ER, I mean, you might go sit all day long. So even if we can just take care of our families in our home, more than, we have been, I think that's wonderful. So I really like to empower moms. So that's kind of my I guess mission for the homeopathy Facebook group. It was just to just to help moms to see because I was the same. Like I said, I had people telling me, they're like, you can't do that. That goes against Christianity. And I'm like, I don't think so. And so it made me dig deeper, but now I understand. And a lot of people just don't know. And I also tell, prospective clients that, homeopathy, or I should say, I was not raised with homeopathy here in the States. We don't know what to expect when we choose to see a homeopath. We have no idea. So I spend part of that 15 minutes of time, which usually ends up being 30 minutes easily. But I spend, some time just explaining to people, what the process is and what to expect because we don't know. I didn't know when I went to took my one of my children was the first one I took to a local homeopath, and we didn't know what to expect. So part of that is just making homeopathy a little more common in the United States and empowering the moms so that they can, further take care of their family at home. And then a lot of times it just seems to spread out into the community and they're helping their neighbors or their friends, their parents, their, adult children. So for me, that's what it is. For me, it's more about a ministry. I do see clients. I see 2 to 3 new clients a week, and then about 6 to 10 follow-ups a week. So I'm actually really busy, but I still feel like it's just my ministry. And so I keep telling myself, I'm like, God puts people here for me in my path. They are supposed to be here. And it's just, I don't know, it's really exciting for me. I love having I say homeopathy found me with my background with children and psychology, and I worked at a domestic violence shelter. I led the children's program in shelter and out of shelter. I homeschooled my 4 children. Just a lot of different experiences. And then when I found homeopathy and I was like, I have to study this, I just feel like everything from my past that God has just developed this path for me, and I am here doing what I'm doing right now today for a reason. And I just love to share that with other people, whether it's helping to empower them to prescribe at home, whether it's to encourage them to consider, actually going to school, or you know or if they're already in school and they're wanting just some encouragement and support. So I'm here for it, and like I said, I feel like this is my ministry.
That's so beautiful. That's so beautiful. So joyous to have found that place where you can really serve people and feel really connected with your faith at the same time. It's
Yeah,
wonderful.
exactly.
So I thought I would say a couple of words. We actually developed, as you know, Cindy, some of our listeners may not know, we developed a course recently specifically for moms called Homeopathy for Moms as sort of an intermediate step for moms who want to do what you're talking about, take care of their families for acute situations. Um, I think, did you check out the mom's course yourself? Did you go through some of it? And can you tell me give me any input or thoughts on that?
Yes, I really like it. And I like how you go through the 5 senses and help moms to look at their children differently than we normally do as moms. It's like kind of breaking it down into, helping them to see, okay, well, what's different? What is different about them while they are not feeling well? And as much as we stress that as homeopaths until you're actually in that moment, needing to do that. I think your information and again, I love books. I think your program is the only one that I have seen, and I say that it's not that I, am a connoisseur of programs, but I am a connoisseur of books. But yours is the only information that really touches on the 5 senses, which is why it really sticks out in my brain. So I think it's really helpful. And then the remedies that you go through and the various common childhood sicknesses and stuff. Yeah, I thought it was very well put together.
Great. Yeah. Well, I'm hoping it'll be an intermediate step for those moms that want to get a little bit of education in homeopathy, but aren't quite ready, to commit to the whole program, which can lead to becoming a professional homeopath, such
Mhm.
as you have become through going through our program. So, anything else coming to mind, Cindy?
Um,
At this point?
Let me see. I was 2 things real quick. So adding on to your homeopathy for moms, I often encourage moms that really seem to gravitate towards homeopathy, and it's like they want to get the repertory, they want to get the materia medica, they want to start looking up rubrics. I really encourage them to even consider your module 1, because I feel like it's a standalone for acute prescribing, and it really puts you straight in there, but with the proper tools and books and information. And so a lot of times I will recommend that to people, because also you offer the pay as you go, so you can do just one module and then make a decision if you want to keep, if you love it and you want to keep going, then that's great. But, even just the one module, I think is a fantastic program to really, really learn acutes well.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
All right.
that's
So was
great. And
that the first? There was another thing.
that was
Yes.
the first thing. Yes, yes. And then I wrote another quote that I wanted to share, and it was from one of these books as well that I was referencing earlier. And it was supposedly Hahnemann on his deathbed said to his daughter, he said, God does not owe me anything. I owe him everything. I just thought
Beautiful.
that was, I don't know, that was just really touching to me. I feel like he devoted his entire life and to be able to create an entire system of healing in one's lifetime, I think it's just incredible. And his dedication to his people, you know, the Bible tells us you will be known by your fruits. I'm like, Dr. Hahnemann has incredible fruits, and he really worked with people of all um, you know, of all, I'm trying to, all backgrounds, I guess is the right way to say that. I mean, he worked with all people. He saw people personally, face to face. He actually wrote letters and prescribed for people through the mail. Um, I just feel like he was really a servant of God. And so I just always like to mention that because I think that's important to know.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. I think that's a wonderful note to end on here. And just another mention that we will put the links to Cindy's Facebook group, as well as links for the Homeopathy for Mom course and the Module 1 that we've been discussing, so people don't have to scramble trying to figure out what we were talking about. So thank you so much, Cindy. It's always such a delight to talk to you and to hear your thoughts. And I know that you're just spreading a whole lot of healing and happiness all through the world and all through your church community, people of faith. And I'm just really, really delighted to see what you're doing. So thank you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.